I don't gotta write, but I'm feeling you tonight. You can call me, you can text me, we can hit the FaceTime. Hot days in the shade, I don't wanna fade. Hot days in the shade, I don't wanna fade. I don't gotta write, but I'm feeling you tonight. You can call me, you can text me, we can hit
All right. Welcome everybody back to the Music Producers Treasure Box Show. You were just jamming out to the sounds of Late Night Messages, who is gonna come on to our show today and really share a fresh, youthful perspective. This is the man that I mentioned just a few episodes ago. I gave him a shout out because he is somebody who reached out to me via email and he shot me some music and I happened to really dig the vibes. It was totally something different than what I'm used to hearing. Not necessarily highly electronic, but definitely contains levels and elements of electronic music, whether it's the drums or the occasional synth. But it also integrates some amazing lyrics, some amazing vocals, and oftentimes guitar or keyboard, which we will learn soon because he studied that in high school, which he is yet to have graduated from. So I really want to give this dude some shine. So I am featuring him here on the show so that he can tell us a little bit of that young Gen Z perspective on the future of music and everything that an artist we should be watching out for is working on in the upcoming months, years, and onward. Before we get into our episode with Gnat Dude of Late Night Messages, I do want to give a shout out to our show's sponsor. This week's episode is sponsored by Printful, the custom printed and embroidery product solution for your business. Whether you're a musician trying to get something together for merch for your audience at shows, whether you're trying to start an e-commerce fashion brand, whatever you're trying to do where you might need shirts, jackets, sweaters, even leggings for the ladies, Printful can do that for you with just a few clicks of the button, a few drags of your logo. You will have high quality and a pretty dynamic choices of merchandise for your fans or things that you could order and even just rock yourself to represent that new album pre-release in some video recordings. Printful's link is going to be available in the show notes, but you can also get there by going to www.fermimusic.com/Printful, and you will be able to see for yourself the high quality products that you're going to be able to get at Printful and log in to create your own right there. All right, without further ado, let's get my man, Gnat Dude of the band Late Night Messages, on the line and pick his brain. Let's go. All right, I got my man, Gnat Dude from Late Night Messages here with me on the phone. We're actually connecting over Skype. Welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me and having me here.
It's been fun to chat with you already. I just had to say, hey, Nat, let's get into the interview because you're already dropping some funny, interesting jewels that we can all learn for. So, hey, man, I'm super excited to kick off this interview. So tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you end up on this show? And what is your music all about?
All right. So I guess I'll start with how I ended up here. Just recently this summer, I was trying to get my music more out there. So I was just emailing a lot of people, more in Oklahoma. But I don't remember how I came across your email, but I was like, I want to ask for feedback and maybe I'll get something in return. Like, people usually don't respond. So it was like a huge threat. So like, hey, I actually listened to your music and I like it. I was like, what? This is crazy.
No doubt. I've been in that same boat, man, where you hit people up and they don't write back, you know, including on this show. We've got a good following at this point. We've got our audience, a few hundred downloads whenever I release an episode. So, you know, hey, it's their loss, bro. I'm super glad that I'm the kind of person when I get a message, I love to reach back out, man. And it was not just blowing hot air. I checked out the tunes. I did love what I heard. And then as I chatted with you more, really appreciated how open you were to feedback. And I thought it would be awesome to feature a young guy on here on the show. You're coming hot in at 17. I love that you're not even finished with high school yet. And you're blowing it up with the music. So keep it up, man.
Thank you. When I first got your first response back, I was like, is this a bot? Maybe because I wasn't used to it, so I was like, maybe it's just like a robot, and I don't know. I just got an automated message.
Hey, I'm working on my bot stuff, you know?
No, I'm not making fun of you for the
No,
bots.
no, for sure. But dude, I wish it was a bot that could answer sincerely on my behalf sometimes, because I always want to do more. But no, it was me, man. I definitely use autoresponders and all the above to get my messages out there. But I tell people this a lot, actually, whether it's on my kind of mass emails or on the show here. Hey, I answer my own emails, right? So sometimes it'll be a bit of a delay. I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing a lot of things, but definitely try to answer everybody.
And, you know, like, I think I was asking you about my music bio. I was like, man, this guy is taking forever. I'm just kidding. But
that's where I need the bot. Yeah, man, you sent me your bio as well. You asked me for a little feedback. I'd love to talk about that in a second here, because it's super important to have a music bio. And I actually want to just underscore this now for the audience listening out there and highlight how important it is to have that perfectly written biography, right? You know, don't sweat it. I actually shouldn't have even said the word perfect right there, because nothing can be that. But, you know, to have something that you can put out there, send to folks when they ask about who are you as a musician, where are you coming from. Music definitely speaks for itself to a degree, but folks in the press, you know, in publicity area, they want to get a little bit more of an information on you. Where are you from? Where have you performed? Are you new? Have you been doing this a decade? You know, all the above. So it's awesome that you're starting to put together that already, man.
yeah, I was just like looking online and just looking up articles for like musicians and like, this is what you should be doing now. And so it's like, have a music bio ready for press.
Yeah.
And I just kind of started that. It's like nowhere near perfect, though. I don't think so. I think I have to work on it way more.
Yeah, man. Keep massaging it. Keep working on it. You know, I gave you a few tips on there. Hopefully they were helpful. Did you know what I meant by like the witty? Add a little bit more of that wit that you're definitely capable of doing. Just add a little more of that.
I'm not completely sure, but I mean, if you know, like you want to help me more, I think I need help.
For sure. I mean, you know, one of the things that I told you, and I'll just share for our audience, is when you have your music bio, you know, you can just hit them with the facts like, hey, I picked up fiddle when I was 10. I started playing banjo when I was 15. But even right now I'm doing it, right? Like I'm adding a little bit of wit into it, like not just the facts, but something random that will stick out to the reader, right? Like, you know, embellish a little bit. And just even not just embellish, just find those unique things that are you, purely your story, and really highlight that. Because I'm sure there's stuff that you go through or that I've gone through that, you know, people can relate to, but that is purely and uniquely us.
And when you told me about go weird with my when I described my music, I thought that was really interesting. And like the example you gave me,
yeah,
I'm like, this makes makes me sound way more interested than I think I am. And so that's pretty good advice.
Now that's the hard part, right? Is like when you're writing about yourself, that's why some people actually just hire somebody else to do it, right?
Yeah.
It's like hard to write about yourself. You're doing it in the third person as well. So it's like, okay, you're talking about yourself. It's, you know, and a lot of folks, you know, maybe other than like a Kanye West type character or a real diva mentality, you're not going to brag about yourself. You know, I struggle with that myself, right? So, you know, it's a good idea to, you know, just sketch out your ideas, try to take yourself for an out of body experience and really write about yourself in the third person, and then also get that second opinion. I don't think it's necessary to hire somebody, but, you know, if you really can't do it, hey man, that might be your last result, you know? Well, look, man, what was some of the, you know, I think I said like you were Trippie Redd with Beck's Love Child or something like that.
And it's something with the spaceship, like beamed up a spaceship. And I was like, what?
Yes, yes.
Something around there.
That's right. Like the Starship Enterprise, they were trying to beam up Beck and Trippie Redd and the signal got crossed or something. Kind of a graphic image, but I mean, that's how I think you could be a little witty and describe your music. You might be able to pick out some other artists that you are actually really inspired by or something. But, you know, I think especially for upcoming artists where you can't really describe the sound that easily, it can help listeners if you do something kind of funny, something kind of witty, like graphic like that. of two people that you kind of know. Maybe they're even totally different styles. And you're like, wow, what would that be like if, I don't know, they Frankenstein the two together, or beamed up to the Enterprise and the signal got confused, or got in a car accident and accidentally morphed into one or something. I don't know what it would be. But could be a creative way, right?
You have like a lot of great ones just off the top of your head. I should be writing them down.
Yeah, hey, I think it's coming from that freestyle rapping background that I actually have.
I don't believe that. You were a rapper?
Back in the day. So let me tell you guys all this story real quick. Back in the day, I started, and this is why I actually really appreciate you, Gnat Dude, is I started out when I was about 15 years old in my basement. Similar to you, it wasn't Oklahoma, but it was in Ohio. A lot of folks on the West Coast get all those states confused. I just started out making music, man. I started out making beats. Rapping was something that I picked up. It was awesome. I learned so many different words that people say I have a good vocabulary. I don't know. And I feel like that's because I was always looking up words in the dictionary. But yeah, I just became like the mixing and the mastering guy for the neighborhood. All the other guys out there that wanted to record songs would come down to the basement. And that was kind of my thing, man. That's how I got into music, and definitely just took up so much of my time throughout my whole high school career. So definitely kind of see a little bit of myself in you. And I'm a big proponent for young folks just getting involved in music as early as possible because it's so good for the brain.
That was great. A subtle flex there. You're like, I have a pretty good vocabulary. You know me. You just, like,
that's what they say.
All right.
So how did you actually get into making music? What drove you to it?
Just fascination of Bruno Mars when I was in elementary school.
Wow, okay.
And I think that's what, like, I just wanted to be like him.
Yeah.
And, like, he was this singer, piano guy with, I'm preparing to, like, when I was your man, like, that was the song for me in 5th grade. I would sing it all the time.
Yeah.
And I thought I was, like, the little cool guy just singing Bruno Mars in class. It was kind of dumb. But it started there, and when I hit middle school, I got accepted into the school along with my sister, and they actually offered guitar classes.
Yeah.
And so in 6th grade, I took guitar, and then when I hit 7th grade, I also took piano. And so that's what gave me actually my sort of music theory knowledge there.
Yeah.
And just like continually growing, I was like exposed to more artists, especially with my brothers. Like more recently, they've exposed me to a lot of the newer hip hop artists. It's like, like XXXTentacion, Trippie Redd. And I think the person actually that inspired me to actually start recording was Kuko. This was around, I think, 9th grade. I was just chilling in my room, and it was pretty cool for me because I had like my own TV, and it actually had like a Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah.
So I had Spotify on it, and I was like listening to music, and it turned into an artist radio.
Yeah.
And it was just playing like different artists that were related to him. This band called Laney, and so Kuko popped up, and I was like, whoa. And at first I thought it was a band, but apparently, like in the recording process, it's just this one guy producing all of these instruments by himself, and that's what like inspired me. I was like, damn, I really gotta make songs like him now.
And I mean, it sounds like this guy, I'm kind of looking at his stuff, is a bit of a goofball.
Yes.
He's a multi-instrumental guy. And, I'm actually on the Spotify bio of this dude, and it says, my trash can is literally on fire from throwing your mom's socks in there.
I haven't even read that. Oh my God.
I don't know if that's the lyrics to a song or what, but it maybe is exemplifying that whole quirky, witty, like, what is that aspect to how you could write your bio, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of teenagers are drawn to weird, funny stuff, and just it's definitely what I'm into, and just like that's what hits me, and like I relate to all of that stuff.
Exactly. I think that's probably what every generation would say about the younger one. They like weird stuff, But maybe you've got a point. Maybe it's more of that trend on that goofy stuff, slightly like illogical sentences like that. Like, what is that even about? But you guys are having fun, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to that, I'm pretty sure you would be in the next generation, below millennials, Gen Z. What do you see as popular right now, like at school, in music, and just trends or whatever? I'm super curious what's on the come up, because our next generation is the future. I know a lot of people try to act like that's not the case, but it's obviously true.
I wouldn't say I'm like 100% qualified to dictate what is popular,
Yeah.
because I'm by no means popular at my own high school.
Yeah.
But I'd say meme rap is getting like really more popular.
Yeah.
And I think artists who are more, they call themselves self-made, and like they make songs in their bedroom, and it's like so different from older generations where you had to go to studio and record, and that's where you focus your music on.
Nice. So you actually see that whole element of, hey, I'm a bedroom producer, or I'm a singer-songwriter, and I just record this literally from my mattress or something in the bed or in maybe the garage. That's kind of what you hear all the artists saying that you guys listen to.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it inspires people because they're like, well, if they can make it in their garage or just on their bed, I think it inspires people to be like, oh, maybe I can do it too. And I think that's probably what's really cool about it.
That is a super important point. Technology has allowed people to be empowered, right? We can record this interview right now, and we're going to go ahead and edit up the show and get it out to hundreds and thousands of listeners over time. That would be impossible just maybe a decade or two ago.
Yeah.
Getting songs recorded on a quality level that you would actually want to listen to from a bedroom, that used to be pretty hard. I did it 10 years ago, and it sounded okay, but year over year, just there's so much technology, so much ability to distribute it on platforms like Spotify now that would be, impossible in previous generations.
Yeah, because like with DistroKid too, like that's the distributor I use alongside with my cousin. It's just like $20 a year. You can get all your music on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and it's just so cheap. It's relatively cheap. It's pretty cool.
I was going to ask you about that. So you go through DistroKid to distribute your stuff?
Yeah.
Nice. Talk to us a little bit about how do you record your music? I think I even read on the bio that sometimes you're using like an Apple EarPod or something like that. Is that true?
Yeah. It depends on how I'm situated. Sometimes I move back and forth between my mom and dad. Mm-hmm. So it's just like what I have then and there. And some songs I've released, I've literally recorded with my phone and just my Apple earbuds.
That's awesome.
So it's crazy. Like people still listen to them. Like, yeah, pretty cool. And like somebody messaged me on Twitter. They're like, yeah, we bumped this in the car. I'm like, what? How do you? It's just crazy to me.
And that song that they bump in the car is something that you recorded using that style. Just what you had around, the ear pods, you just made it happen.
Yeah. I don't exactly remember her Twitter handle, but I think her name is Martha. So she's the one that told me she jams with it with her sister in the car. I was like, that's pretty crazy.
Shout out to Martha and her sister for bumping D in the car. I love that. We'll try to find her Twitter handle and we'll let her know she's on this episode. You seriously have to expand on this because, to be honest, okay, so I'm all about recording songs in the bedroom, making beats right in the living room or wherever you're at on your laptop or on your desktop. But my mind's blown right now. So you have the song right here on Spotify. It was recorded by your phone and Apple EarPods. How do you actually record that?
On iPhone, I'm not sure. I think it's like 6 and up. It comes pre-installed with GarageBand. Mm-hmm. And so when I finally bought my own phone, and it was iPhone 6S, I was like, oh, I'm so cool. I bought my own phone. And so I had GarageBand on there. I felt like recording on it because I wanted to get my creativity out, and so I just went with that.
Wow.
And
GarageBand on the phone. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's this video of this artist. His name is Steve Lacy, and that's where I got the idea of using GarageBand and just like my phone to record music. So I saw that video and I was like super inspired. Like, what this dude is. I like one of his songs. It's called Some. It's kind of a funky track to me, and so I was just like, what the hell, I gotta try it. I gotta get an iPhone, and I want to try using GarageBand.
Nice. I love it. Well, hey, with that being said, I wasn't planning this, but let's go ahead and let everybody hear this song, DDD, that was recorded inspirationally in the moment on the iPhone, and I think really represents the day and age that we are in. Let's go.
Listen to me now, I can hardly breathe. I'm sending straight emotions.
Dang, dude, that was done on GarageBand on your phone?
Yes, that the drum was actually a loop, so I don't want to get like sued.
Yeah.
But I don't know who I'd get sued by, but I try to put it in the credits like I use GarageBand loops for the drums.
Yeah.
But then
awesome.
the rest of the guitar I recorded myself.
Shout out to GarageBand Loops. Thanks for the drums, yo. It's a good song, though, man. I love that.
Thank you.
So talk to me a little bit. We were actually talking before the interview about, I was bringing up people that sweat things left and right when it comes to their music, to creativity, and to their life, right? So thinking about album covers, for instance, you were sharing with me, I said I really liked one of your album covers for Where Are You Right Now? And I like a bunch of these, by the way. It's got a funky nature and kind of, even though they're all different, there's something similar. But I like the Where Are You Right Now one. I was like, man, there's an amazing, I said maybe a burger joint or something.
Nah.
We started talking about what this is and how you get your album covers. Tell our audience a little bit more about that.
Like I was correcting you there. I was like, it's not a burger joint. We went to a movie theater, and it was in December that I took the picture. We went and saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I just came outside, and I was really liking the lights because like neon lights are kind of my thing. I just like looking at them, and I was like, I got to take a picture for a song cover.
Yeah.
And so I did.
Yeah, you got the retro neon lights on there. That is a beautiful theater. I can tell you what. Is that downtown Oklahoma City or something?
It's
not even downtown?
I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not like even completely familiar with Oklahoma City. I'm just driving around. I'm not even paying attention. Man. I'm just, I'm in the car with like whoever's driving me around. I'm just like thinking about music. So I'm not even paying attention.
I love that, man. So somewhere in Oklahoma City, there's this
somewhere
on the cover of the.
I think it's AMC Theater. I think it's AMC.
When it comes to all the rest of your album covers, like talk to us, like how do you make them? You were even saying you have some new songs coming up and you've got the covers already.
Yeah, on my phone, it's this app. It's called Photoshop Mix that I usually use. Well, in DistroKid, they have this requirement that your photo has to be this certain amount of pixels. Mm-hmm. And so I use it to shape the pictures into this perfect square, and sometimes add different effects over them.
Yeah. You keep it simple, man, right? Like you have your Soul Homies album cover. It looks like maybe a notebook from one of the humanities classes. You just got a picture of that with a maroon or red overlay, and that was done just pretty quickly there?
Yeah. I took the picture because I already knew that I wanted to release Soul Homies, and I was dedicating it to my girlfriend, Jenny. So that picture is actually of this notebook that I'm writing down poems and little diary entries for her.
Oh,
and just
so sweet.
You said that so delicately. You made me sound like a gentleman.
I love the poetry. That's great, dude. That's great. And shout out to Jenny because, again, I was looking here on Spotify. I was like, man, when's this guy's next show? Okay, it's coming up. I'm looking at it here. What is it? December 31st at Jenny's room in Chicago?
It's just a joke between us because I wanted to be able to put shows. Well, once I finally start having live shows, I wanted to start putting them online. And so I was just messing around. I told her, like, hey, let me put your room, let me make up a venue and say that I'll be there.
I like that though. For a second there, I really was like, man, Jenny's Room in Chicago. That might be like
Sounds like a
club
cool
down
ass
there.
venue, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like a great venue. What I really loved about that story, and when we were talking about it before, is not taking it too serious. Folks, a lot of people that I talk to, they are seriously sweating every detail. Like, oh man, should I go with Helvetica or should I go with Calibri? Is this the right font? Does it need to be, have a shadow? Is it, should I invert this photo so that it looks weird? Or, hey, just do the album cover, man, because the song, first of all, is the most important thing. But second of all, I think you're showing us here, this is 2019. You've got probably a great photo on your phone that you could quickly flip into an album cover. You don't even need to have the title or text on there. Just get the music out there. Do you hear what I'm saying?
As you were saying that, I was just thinking about how on Spotify, my most streamed song is How Do I Rotate Text in Paint? And literally, that one was made in Microsoft Paint. We just moved some shapes around, did different colors, and put like randomest How Do I Rotate Text in Paint? It was just 10 minutes and done.
That's hilarious. I'm laughing because I'm literally looking at that one right now. And I was going to ask you, I was like, dude, this guy, it's like, hold on, all my listeners out there, if you can one-up this guy, there's only one way to one-up him. He made an album cover in Microsoft Paint, okay? If you can make an album cover in Microsoft Word, you're going to probably one-up him. But otherwise, I think it totally illustrates the point, no pun intended, that, just keep it simple, make that album cover. It actually looks pretty cool. I have to tell you something.
Thank you.
But there's like something really retro about his album cover, How Do I Rotate Text in Paint? But, again, it's that song, right? It's really about the song nowadays, especially with the volume of content that artists are going to create because of how we release music now. We don't do a lot of albums. There's a lot of singles to get released on these streaming services. So don't sweat it too much, man. Get the music out. So Late Night Messages is the name of, I don't know if you want to call it the band, but it's the alias you use to release your music.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about the name, and I'm also just curious to hear how you would also describe your music.
That one is going to be tough for me because I'm terrible at describing. But with the name, I was with my cousin. We were sitting in his room, and I went back and I asked him this just to fact check myself. And he said we went through different message related names, and so we had DMs in the AM and messages at midnight. It started in around 2015 when I wanted to make a band with my best friend.
Yeah.
The idea I had then was late night conversations. To me, it was about me being kind of awkward around people. I had actually become friends with them online, and we'd have a lot of conversations and later at night.
Yeah.
And I've read online that apparently that's where people get more deep and introspective, and so I just thought that kind of hit with me.
Nice. So at late in the evening is when people seem to get more deep, more introspective. Those conversations and messages.
Yes.
I don't know, are more raw or more heartfelt, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I think.
And so I know you said it would be really hard to describe the sound, but how would you describe it? We made some jokes about some accidents and some confused teleportation things going on with different artists. But how do you kind of think about your sound and where you're going with it?
I definitely think maybe an R&B singer over an overlay of different instrumental tracks. Because I wouldn't say all of my songs are completely the same, and so I think there's kind of a variety there.
I mean, as you're speaking, it's going to be really interesting for me because I've already seen music change a bit over the last 10 years or so, maybe a little longer, when I've been really conscious of different artists. I remember hearing about Bruno Mars the first time. I remember a time when he didn't exist. I don't know if you know about that, but he didn't always exist. And, it's just so interesting to see, where music is going to go over the next 10, 20, 30 years and how it's tough to describe when a new sound comes out. So I definitely want to applaud you Awesome job on creating original sounding music. Definitely blends in different elements. There's some trap drums occasionally. There's a hip hop sound very, very occasionally. There's, acoustic guitars. There's like jazz keys. It's just a montage of sounds. And it comes together, man. It's not jarring, because that could sometimes be like bizarre if it's too different. But it's smooth, and that says a lot, though, that you were inspired by Bruno Mars. By the way, that actually was another level that you just added.
Thank you. Well, I don't want to give myself a lot of credit with my sound, because I think I just go with whoever I'm inspired by at the moment, and it's just it changes a lot. And I'm glad you picked up on the jazz thing, because I was a little bit of a jazz guitarist for like a year. Glad you did pick up on it.
Well, we talked a little bit before about the album cover for the song Where Are You Right Now? And I actually want to go into the song so all of our listeners here on the Music Producers Treasure Box can hear it. It's one of my personal favorites of yours. What is the song all about? Before we hit into it, just tell us how it came together.
So, at school, I was goofing around, not even paying attention in class, because that's how I usually am. I'm just thinking about music. And I was watching this video this guy posted, and an artist that I had gotten into recently because of my brothers was Lil Peep. And so, he has that emo trap kind of sound.
Yeah.
And so he was like, here's a tutorial how to make a song like him. And so I just wanted to try out an instrumental and see if I could get close to the sound.
Yeah.
Literally, when I went home that day, I came up with the instrumental. I sampled the song. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, I didn't know.
It was, I used the same artist that I used in the video. It's this band called Silverstein. I can't remember what the song is called right now, but I know on Genius, I put a link in there.
Okay.
But I hit them up after I made the song. I was like, hey, I sampled your song. But they never got back to me. I was like, crap.
Right on. Well, with that, let's head into the song. This is one of my personal favorites, and here it goes. Let's go. All right. Well, we are back. That was one of my favorite tracks. Where Are You Right Now? I definitely advise everybody, go ahead and head over to Spotify. Save that track into a playlist and take a look at the album cover. You got to love old school neon stuff from Oklahoma City. So, my man, tell me a little bit about what is coming up in the future for you. It sounds like you are hoping to do some collabs, or maybe you already have some in the works.
Not any that are actually going to happen, but I want to make happen.
Let's do it.
Hopefully, if I get even more popular, people will be listening to me and reach out to the artists. So I just wanted to say, I think in the early or late 2000s, I was really on YouTube a lot. And so these artists, I don't know if you've heard of Gummy Bear or Crazy Frog. They were pretty popular, but, they're kind of zany, just animations.
Are you talking about the I'm a Gummy Bear song?
Yes.
All right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Come on, man. I've got young kids, actually, so of course I know that one.
I want to get on a track with whoever made that song. I think it'd be so weird, but I think it could work. I think I have what it takes to collab with Gummy Bear.
All right. So whoever made the I'm a Gummy Bear song, this is a call out to you. I'm not sure if that's known or not, but whoever you are, or if you know who they are and you're listening, please shoot a note over to myself or to Late Night Messages, Gnat Dude. He wants to do a collab.
And then I have one more that I want to mention, because I don't, hopefully it could happen, because, things are just happening and people are collabing and everywhere. Omar Polo. That's another guy I want to get on a song with.
All right, Omar
He
Polo
has
calling you out. We want to get you on a track with Gnat Dude. I don't see why it can't happen, man. Awesome. What kind of songs do you have coming out next? What is your next release, for instance? Do you know? Or is it a step-by-step process?
it's up in the air, whatever comes out or whatever I'm able to record first.
Yeah.
Because I've been making instrumentals and trying to come up with melodies for them, but it's kind of hard now.
Right.
A little bit harder.
Well, I think it's definitely a nice discography that you've already built up on Spotify. So keep up the good work. And as soon as you can, definitely put up that updated bio. So far, you have just a little bit written on there. And I'm super curious to see how creative, how witty, how informative you can be on that bio. So look, who would you like to shout out, man? We've got you here on the show. I surprised you last week, maybe 2 weeks ago now on the show. I said, hey, Late Night Messages, you're coming on the show.
That was crazy.
So I want to give you your moment, man. Like, who would you like to give a shout out to on the Music Producers Treasure Box podcast here?
Okay, I have a whole 10-page list I'm about to go through here.
Okay.
So I want to first give a shout out to my brother, Sad Isai. I made a song with him that we have on Spotify. It's called Superstar. Mm-hmm. He's like, if you want to use my laptop to record that interview, you should shout me out. I'm like, okay, all right, I got you. And then I wanted to shout out my cousin. He's his name is RJ, but on Spotify he's Rage the Angry One. It's also another rapper.
Nice.
And then shout out to my girlfriend Jenny, and to Nat. She's one of my fans, and she's been really supportive of my music for whatever reason. Like, it's so crazy to me. Like, people are encouraging their friends to listen to my music, and it's just really cool to me. That's who I wanted to get by. I think I got everybody.
That's great, man. And I just want to shout out everybody that you shouted out already for being supportive. That means a lot to me as somebody who didn't always come up with folks that were supportive of the vision of creativity and music that I had and that people like you have, Nat. So,
I feel that.
You know, big shout out to everybody there. Love the support, love the encouragement. And to be honest, that is what more artists need in their life. Everybody listening to this show, you know, make sure you surround yourself with positive people that are uplifting and supportive of your vision. In my episode last week with Waleed Azami, the photographer of the stars, he talked about don't surround yourself with yes men, okay? Because if you got people just inflating your head and, you know, not actually looking out for your best interests in that way, that's also bad. But, you know, also just put people around you that are in your corner. That means they tell you when the truth needs to be told. They tell you, you know, when you might want to do something different, but not in a discouraging way, just in a critical way with some actual true feedback. So, you know, shout out to everybody there supporting you, man. And if people want to reach out to you, if people want to find more out about you, how can they find you? What's the best way? What do you recommend?
I'd say Instagram is the first one. Okay. And that's going to be Gnat Dude, but with the G at the beginning. That way I can confuse people about pronouncing it.
Yes. I called you Gnat Dude, and I still do in my head. You're Gnat Dude forever for me. So Gnat Dude with a G, GNATDUDE on Instagram. And Twitter. What about Spotify, man?
Spotify is going to be Late Night Messages.
Late Night Messages. All right, man. Hey, thank you so much for being on the show. It was amazing to chat with you. And I really, really wish you truly an awesome senior year this coming fall and more success in your music.
Thank you. Hopefully, when I get famous, this will be the first interview that kickstarted stuff for me. I think it's going to be really cool. And I think it's going to be really helpful.
Yeah.
And so when I'm out there, maybe like on Jimmy Fallon or something, I could be like, FERMI Music was the first one to do it. The first one that hit me up and he's like, get on my show. I can break that up.
For sure. Follow this dude on Spotify and on Instagram so you can be along on this journey. So I would appreciate the shout out on Fallon when you get there, bro. But for sure, just follow and be a part of his journey for all of my listeners on the Music Producers Treasure Box. Peace. All right. Well, I think you guys can see, just as I can, that young man right there has a lot going for him. And I am honestly not just saying that. When I sense talent, and I hope that through the airwaves, through your earpods, you sensed what I heard, and that is somebody who's super intelligent, super excited to experiment with different styles, and honestly willing to go the extra mile to do whatever it takes to record music when inspiration hits. Now, when he told me, for instance, that he recorded tracks sometimes on his own Apple EarPods, my mind was blown, okay? That is some serious determination. And I think it really highlights what he said, which Gen Z is super appreciative of, and that is self-made artists. I know as well as you do that some of your favorite artists out there who've ever produced music did so on a tight timeline or on a tight budget. When they were younger artists, aka starving artists, that hunger and that passion for music really came through. I hope that you out there, listeners, heard what I heard, and again, do whatever it takes. You got illustrated by Gnat Dude what is important in this creative process. And that is to just get the music out there. Don't sweat that you might not have the right mic for this. If it has a pretty good quality, it's a raw track, and it's got that, magic that you cannot fake, that inspiration, go for it. If you need an album cover and you're sweating, maybe even delaying the release of your track because you don't have the right logo, you don't have the right album cover, the right photo, no. My man, Gnat Dude, illustrated that he's putting albums together right there on his iPhone. Not only just the album cover, but the song. The man rotated text in Paint to make an album cover. And again, I challenge anybody out there, if you can come with an album cover design in Microsoft Word or maybe Microsoft Excel, that's the only way you're gonna one-up this guy. I want everybody out there to get creative with what they're doing. Stop sweating the details. Stop worrying that this song needs a little bit more tweaking. We have heard that theme over and over again on my show. And I have begun applying this to my own creative process. I'm not gonna lie, just like you, listener, I've tweaked songs to the point that basically I wasted so much time, I could have made 5 other songs. Let's really analyze how we're producing music, how we are holding ourselves back from getting further and further into our own sound and to success. Have you guys heard of the Pareto principle? I think it really relates here. Basically, the Pareto principle states, it's called the law of the vital few. It states that for many events, roughly 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes. What this has to do with music is kind of that whole quality versus quantity argument, right? If you're not actually out in the studio, hitting it hard, creating tons of tracks, you are not going to create the songs that are going to take you the furthest. Contrary to popular belief, we need to get in there as artists and create a massive volumes of tracks. Basically treat it like Picasso did and get prolific, okay? Not all of them are gonna be your most famous piece, but with more tracks, there will be a higher probability you're gonna have a smash hit on your hand. Take this for example. Many video rental shops reported in 1988 that 80% of revenue came from 20% of videotapes. Time and time again, there are examples where huge returns come from a small fraction of the actual available options. You can see this in stock trading as well, where just a couple of the stocks in your mutual fund are creating the biggest returns. And venture capitalists know that they'll invest in hundreds of companies with only 1 or 2 actually becoming that next Facebook. It is no different for music or for other creative fields. Whether you're a painter, musician, beat maker, singer-songwriter, or even somebody in a realm like sculpture or photography. Let me put it this way. How many different kind of paintings can you actually name from Leonardo da Vinci besides the Mona Lisa? Okay? He's got tons and tons of different works, but you don't know them because what made him famous is select pieces that have taken him to new heights and made him legendary, like the Mona Lisa. So with that being said, everybody get in the studio, start producing, stop sweating every little detail of every little song, because that might not even be the one. Let's get out there and produce those next Mona Lisa tracks. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this episode so much. Let's head out with another track from Late Night Messages. Peace.
I spend so much time away. You call me everywhere we be. Baby, we have our romance. I can't wait for all our plans.